Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the This Is the Music Meets Podcast, an independent podcast show that's dedicated to introducing you to rising indie and alternative artists from across the UK and Ireland. If you are new to the podcast, then please hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any brand new episodes, and feel free to leave a comment as it really does help us beat those algorithms. It's time for episode 130. And for today's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by one of the most exciting and sought-after bands in the UK right now. They've just released their debut album, Souls in Motion, to widespread acclaim. If you haven't guessed already who's today's guests, it is the one and only Pastel. So it is a very warm welcome to James and Jack to the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Chaps, thanks very much for coming on. How are you doing today?
Very good.
Very well.
Tired.
Yeah.
We've just been doing an in-store tour for the album, so we've got one more left tonight. So
Yeah.
I think we've done like 8 or 9 gigs in like 7 days or something, or I can't actually remember, but it's just been, we've not had a day off.
We hate each other now. Everyone in the band. It's got to that point, you know what I mean, where it's just awkward silences and like scorn faces. No, I'm joking. It's all love.
Brilliant. So I think it's probably still okay to ask this question. So kind of like, how was your Christmas and New Year? Can you remember it? Obviously, we were just saying there being pretty tired with the in-stores. Did you make any, New Year's resolutions? Are they still going strong? Or
No, don't do any of that.
It was good. We had we did a tour with the Twang just before Christmas, so again, it was like even before Christmas we've been non-stop. And then me and Jack were both ill at different times over Christmas. I had like flu or whatever, like Christmas Day.
I think I had
days,
norovirus.
and then he was shitting out of his ears then.
It's great though, because all that Christmas chub that I put on, all gone. I'm like ready for the cameras now.
Yeah, I was meant to come to the when you played in London with the Twang, but unfortunately, exactly what you boys just described there, that's what I had, and unfortunately, I had to bail out. I was in bed, so I was a bit gutted really, because it'd been good to have caught you live again. But obviously, the debut album, Souls in Motion, came out last week. It's had a brilliant reaction, I think, from your fan base and obviously, critics and everything, which is brilliant to see. So kind of like, what's your reaction to all the feedback and, all sort of the buzz that's been going along on social media?
It's quite mind-blowing, to be honest with you. You don't really know what to expect, having never done it, having never released an album before.
Yeah.
You are thinking, is anybody going to care? Or if they do care, they're going to hate it. But it just seems to be like really positive and
I've not seen a negative comment yet. Well, have we?
Probably, but there's probably some negative comments. But like,
that's how you know you're winning.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. But so you weren't that confident. I'm not saying not confident, but you were sort of a bit unsure about how well it was going to be received. I mean, I'm assuming obviously within the band that you had, a bit of an inner confidence that this is, this album's the bollocks, or.
Yes, we obviously had a confidence because we wouldn't release it unless we thought it was good. But
I think because it's been years, it's been like literally not sat there, but it has been actually sat there for years. It's sort of become like not as to us, I think, not as impressive as it was. But then we listened to it on the way down to Manchester in its entirety, because Liam, our bass player, had the CDs in his boot, so we stuck them on. And then we all listened through, like, once for the first time, without it being like, all right, we need to alter that, or we need to turn Joe's guitar down, or just, redo Liam's bass completely. So, yeah.
Listening as a listener for the first time. And this was only, like, a couple of days before it was released. And we were, like, just like, wow, I can't believe how amazing this sounds. It's like Jack was saying, when we've been listening before, you're listening to kind of, like, tweak it instead of listening just as kind of like what a normal person would listen to it as. And in the end, you go, yeah, that is pretty good, that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's better than pretty good. I'll say that for sure. But obviously on some of the songs on there, sort of like, Deeper Than Holy and sort of Escape, they seem to sort of carry quite strong emotional messaging. Is that sort of something that you've sort of just what's the word I'm trying to think of? I guess sort of just happened like naturally, or was that sort of something that you were actually specifically trying to do with those songs?
I don't know. You know, anything that we ever do with the band, right? I'm trying to.
Here we go now.
I'm trying to, like, whether it's like the songwriting or whatever. I don't know how much of it is conscious and how much of it is subconscious.
It's fucking not intentional.
Does that make sense? Like a lot.
It's the script from the cosmos.
Like most of the stuff is kind of. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that because
there's no real formula, is there?
No, there's no formula. It's just
we are pretty good. I think a little bit.
Yeah, we're all right, at writing songs and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it just happens naturally. There's not like someone's not just sitting down and going, "Oh, do you know what? We need to write a song that's they're going to connect with people emotionally." It's
no. There's never any of that. No,
it's more the opposite. I'd rather write a song that everyone hates, but I can't do it. Every time I try, everyone loves it.
Yeah, no, sure, definitely. And I guess this is quite difficult, probably to answer this, but do you have a song on the album that's your like personal favourite, or maybe one that you sort of thought, yeah, do you know what? I think that's going to really connect better with the audience than than another song.
All of them, really. I know that's like a shit answer, but one that I love Sunnyside.
Yeah.
And I when I listen to it, I feel like it could be like the ending of a film, the outro.
Yeah.
It's like walking off into the sunset kind of thing. That one I like.
Suitcase full of cocaine.
Yeah, just wheeling it off.
Right for a little gangster film or something.
Yeah.
And sort of when you were putting the album together, obviously recording it in the studio and that, sort of like, were there any sort of, memorable moments, who's maybe keeping the band's spirits high, like maybe like a little practical joke here and there and sort of what's been the best?
Bullying everyone.
Bullying Liam mainly.
To be fair, there was one moment in the I don't know when it was now. We got back, I think we were on a bit stoned. But I think Reese was ordering like a pizza or something. So we all like fucking, it's like this 3-story like old bank building where we record, and we were all in different windows, like with buckets, like bins full of water, just to wait for him to get his pizza.
Waiting for Reese, and then as soon as he goes outside, it was like just fucking
everyone drenched.
We had him and the delivery driver.
So when the pizza box was like that, and he obviously smashed off the pizza box and went directly in the guy's window, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?" That was my favourite moment. Or
just loads of him, just
bullying him.
Just generally bullying Liam and Joe mainly.
Brilliant, love that. So, in terms of sort of like the sound of the album, is there sort of any artists or maybe like an album that sort of was your like biggest influence in terms of writing it, but also like as a wider point, like Pastel's overall sound?
I don't think overall as the album. I think each individual song probably had different, inspirations, either music-wise or film-wise or just inspiration anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we always say,
but not as an overall.
We get lots of influence from music, bands like Shaq and the Verve and the Charlatans and stuff, but we get influenced by films and everyday things, like just little sayings, like when your nan says, like, put the big light on.
Turn the big light on. Like pie with middle out.
Like we love all that like everyday sort of mundane shit that most people probably wouldn't really acknowledge, but we just love observing it all.
Yeah,
that's the type of stuff. We kind of want to have like a very sort of like homely feel in some songs, which isn't necessarily influenced by a particular band, but
I think it's just a good feeling to grasp in a song. I think.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be at home? Do you know what I mean? Well, unless you're out. Now we need an out feeling.
Out in the pub or, I guess, on stage, right?
Well, home is the pub, isn't it?
Well, exactly. That's very true. Yeah. When I can get down there. So obviously you mentioned there a little at the beginning there about obviously the in-stores that you're doing, but just before we come on to that, I've kind of like got to sort of rewind to a couple of years ago, obviously when you headlined, or sorry, supported Liam Gallagher.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Supported obviously Liam Gallagher on his massive Knebworth shows. Kind of like what was the experience like for you, and sort of have you ever sort of looked back, since then and just thinking, oh fucking hell, 80,000 people Knebworth, we smashed it.
Yeah, it was mad. I think at the time as well, the kind of like the formation of the band and stuff, it was only like, it was still like in its infancy.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that's like, it was probably a good thing because we were so young and naive. We didn't know what to expect.
It probably helped us get on stage.
Yeah, we just fucking walked on and thought we've got nothing to lose.
I reckon we'd have been better now.
Yeah, we both, like, I'm not saying any different, but like the fact that we didn't overthink it, which sounds quite mad to say now, but we really didn't overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably the best thing, right? Just to sort of turn up, plug your guitars in and let the music do the talking, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And just on that, obviously I'm sure there was a lot of, famous people of rock and roll there. Was there any memorable moments? Did you get to sort of hang out with anybody at all? And, was there anyone giving any advice, or was it just a case of here's a drink, mate, crack on?
It was the Sean Dice thing.
Sean Dice was there, which that's not very rock and roll.
Funny, though.
That was quite mad.
Funny.
Yeah.
It was Liam's reaction. Sean Dice! Sean Dice! Oh my God! And he just looked proper awkward while this like grunting Merthyr man was like running at him.
Yeah. John Squire was there. We got to meet him briefly.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That was like pretty, when you're in awe kind of thing.
I didn't know it was him at first.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, oh, we're gonna go and do this picture, and I was like a bit, because it was in the evening. I was like, I want to chill out now, and then I walked over and my head come up, and I was like, fuck, all right, oh, okay. Got a bit nervous, pooped me knickers, like.
Yeah, and then the next day, so we did the Friday, and then the Saturday, obviously Liam played again, and then we went and met Liam afterwards, and we hung out with him all night then, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And morning.
Yeah, because he said that you're his new favourite band. Is that right? I think I'm correct in saying.
Yeah, I think he did say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's class, man, isn't it? Someone of his stature.
Yeah, I mean he appreciates good music, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Obviously you've just finished supporting the Twang. You did a string of dates up and down the country. So kind of like, what was it like being on tour with those boys? And how were the gigs received?
Amazing. I mean, honestly, I had a feeling before we went out that we'd get on.
I think you said in the van, didn't you? Like on the way up.
I just had this feeling, because I'd seen, we've been fans of the Twang for like ages anyway, so I kind of knew what they were about, and then I'd watched a couple of interviews with them, and I was like, we're on the same page here. Do you know what I mean? They're not dickheads, and then to actually meet them, and even from the first gig, they were like, right, fucking get in our dressing room, got us all a drink, and then it kind of just developed where they'd end up coming in our dressing room after the show. Do you know, we just became like a big
proper big group, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. I know
they're very professional, but they still love a drink sort of thing. It's like they know when to call it quits and that because they've got a job to do, and which
we kind of learned a lot from them.
Yeah, it's definitely,
we learned like you can definitely still sort of have a party, but you don't need to be out until 6.
Yeah.
and musically it was good because we obviously got to play in front of lots of people just before the album who quite like-minded anyway.
Someone came yesterday, didn't they, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I've seen it." So yeah, this little kid, this little geezer, and his mum and dad came and was like, "Oh, are you gonna come and see us again? When have you seen us before?" He's like, "Yeah, we seen you at the Twang." I was like, "No way, that's class, that."
Yeah, it makes it worthwhile as well, right? Knowing that people are actually digging it and going, yeah, I need to carry, and the importance of, I guess, of getting down and seeing support bands at any gig early, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
And there was always a good turnout for us
Yeah.
at their gig, which most gigs I've been to, the support bands get overlooked completely. But I think the Twang fans, fair play to them, they were just like it's like they're there the whole night. They're already out in the pub, so they might as well go there and then just lounge in the venue all day and just get plastered on like expensive pints. So yeah.
And were there any sort of on that tour? Were there any sort of like the other supports? Did any of them like catch your eye at all that you're thinking, yeah, I want to check them out in the future, or maybe have them on your own
Yeah,
tour coming up?
a lot of them we already knew anyway. The one in Birmingham was called like fuck, I can't remember the name now. It was like a duo thing.
Who's this? Oh, yeah, they were at the first gig and they actually turned up and they looked rough as tits, to be fair. And it was like, oh, where have you been? They went to that place in Manchester, Warehouse Projects, and they hadn't slept. So they just came off, and then it was like, all right, well, we'll see you at the end. We'll see you at the last gig of the tour. You'll be a bit better then. Turns out they're just in the exact same thing again.
Yeah,
I was like, a lot of respect for that.
Brilliant. We'll have to go and have a little check on the tour poster to see who those boys were by the sounds of it. And obviously you're doing or you got your last one tonight on the acoustic in-store sessions.
Yeah.
So kind of like then, how have you found the transition from sort of like your usual live sound to sort of stripping it back? Because it's
been really fun. Loved it because you can mask things when you've got loads of distortion and pedals.
I think there's definitely aspects we're going to take from this that's still going to carry on to the full set.
Yeah, but you kind of have to make sure that every single element is very, very strong. I mean, you could be lazy and just plug an acoustic guitar in and do it exactly the same and like just about get by, but we're not about that. It's like I think we're good musicians, so we might as well
showcase that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
And obviously coming up, starting next month, you've got a 10-date headline tour.
Next month.
Yeah, I think is that right? Yeah, next month.
It is.
February. February, March. Yeah. Obviously, when you were putting the tour together, was there any like venues that we like? Yeah, do you know what, we want to play there? Or was it just like, do you know what, it's going to happen at some point anyway? If it happens this time, it does. If not, it's going to happen on the next tour.
There's always King Tut's for me. Even though we've played it loads, that venue is just, there's something about the atmosphere in there. I don't even think I'd rather do 2 nights than upscale to a bigger venue if I was playing Glasgow there.
Yeah, the Scottish are mad. Anywhere in Scotland, we're doing Aberdeen, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. Like the last time we played King Tut's, the lighting guy never turned up, so we literally played in the dark pretty much. But it didn't matter.
Yeah.
No, it was carnage. Yeah. Newcastle, we're like going up there. To be honest, I'm looking forward to all of it. I'm looking forward to all of it. We love playing everywhere.
Mm.
And is that the best bit of being in a band for you, like playing live rather than being in the studio?
Oh, I'd love it all, mate.
Just like it all, the two different beasts. It's like when people say, oh, Messi or Ronaldo, and I'm like, well, they're both good. Just enjoy both. We just love it all. Like one of my favourite things is just being sat in the van, just driving around.
That's actually the best part of the whole tour.
Yeah.
The amount of bullying that happens in that van is disgusting. If there was a camera or like a mic, we'd
be done.
Yeah, you've got to do tour diaries.
Oh, that's not a tour diary. That's evidence that.
It's got to be done. Well, you know, you can edit it along the way, right? Just little pranks.
Just before hours of silence, then.
So, back in November, you performed at the premiere of the new Trailer Park Boys film, Standing on the Shoulder of Kitties. And obviously, as part of that premiere, you were joined on stage by an icon of rock and roll. So, yeah, can you just tell us how this all came about, how your involvement with the film happened?
Yeah, so it all started when Charlie Lightning, who shot the album cover,
Yeah.
he directed the film. So we were going to our friend's wedding, who, funnily enough, does all the artwork on the album, and he does all of our artwork. So he was getting married in Amsterdam, and so we were as the band, we were all going over there to the wedding. And I think I must have put something on my story, and Charlie was like, he said, "Oh, where are you off?" I said, "Oh, Amsterdam." He said, "Fuck off." He said, "I'm here." I said, "Oh, that's mad." So we flew out to Amsterdam, and Charlie said, "Well, when you land, just drop your bags off straight away. Come and meet me at such and such a place." He said, "I'll put some passes on for you." So what happens is, in the film, the majority of the film is Bubbles is on tour with Billy Bob Thornton around Europe. Mm-hmm. So the tour was like a real thing that actually happened. So we went to obviously the gig in Amsterdam, and we met them all afterwards, hung out with them all, met Billy Bob Thornton and stuff like that. And
I think James asked him what he did.
Yeah, he started talking. Billy Bob Thornton started talking to me. I said, "Oh, what do you do?" But we're mates now, so it's fine.
We made up.
He said, I'm kind of the star of the show." What am I doing? But I was in Amsterdam, so. And so anyway, we hung out with them all, had a really good night, and then from that, they said that they wanted to get me and Jack up to Glasgow in the gig there, because they were just going to give us like a couple of lines each, like a little sort of thingy part. So we went up to do that, and again we had like 2 nights then with them where we really hung out, and we just all became good friends with them all.
Yeah.
And because they must have I think the majority of the cast and crew and stuff had followed us on Instagram or whatever, they kind of they seen what we were doing. And the final scene in the film is a big celebrity-filled party at Abbey Road Studios, and then Bubbles, the main character, kind of gets up at the end and performs a song. So they asked us if we'd be the band to play. So we play in a couple of our songs, and then at the end, then we play the final song, and we play it with Ronnie Wood,
Duff McCain
from the Guns N' Roses, from the Animals, loads and loads of others that I can't even, honestly, it was like the room was just like full to the brim.
Yeah.
Celebrities, which was just insane. And then we had the premiere in London a few weeks ago, and they asked us again to play at the premiere. And then just about an hour before, Mike, who plays Bubbles, said to me, he says, "Have you got a spare amp?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." Why? He said, "Oh, just in case when Ronnie comes, he might want to get up and play."
Yeah. So
we were like, "Right, we'll set it up just in case, but I don't think this is going to happen." And then he turned up and he was like, "Are we fucking jamming today, boys?" And we were like, "Yeah, if you want, yeah."
Sure, mate.
Nah, I've had enough.
And I'm not saying necessarily he's a hero as such, but obviously a lot of people say don't ever meet your heroes. Was he? Was it nice to hang out with him?
He's a proper dude, man.
Yeah, he took time to sort of he took an interest in the band and stuff, which is just amazing.
Yeah, sure, I can imagine what that would have been like. So, just moving briefly away from music. Obviously, I know that you're both Man United fans. What's going on? Because it's a bit of a shit show, isn't it? At the minute, is the new guy the right man, Amaron, the right guy to take you forward?
I hope so. And do you know what? I said this for like the last 5-6 years. I'm sick of managers being sacked
And the thing is, it gets to the point every time where, every time, the last 2 months, you kind of think, nah, he's got to go now. And it's like the dressing room seems to have way too much control.
Mm.
And it's like they make the manager's decisions look stupid, you know, and I just think that's weak. Whereas when, I hate going back to Fergie all the time, but you have got to keep looking at it and go, Fergie made some fucking bold decisions where we grip the situation by the balls and go, you know, like, rightly or wrongly, you know, when he got rid of like Roy Keane and stuff, who is probably Manchester United's best ever captain, but he always puts the team first. Whereas, you know, now you put fucking Marcus Rashford on the bench for 2 or 3 games, and then it's like he's releasing statements and like,
okay, but
just
you know,
fucking
grow up.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I just find it pathetic. Honestly, I would just fucking get rid of like 90% of that team,
Get paid to
and just start again.
Voice on that.
Yeah, I think it's got, hasn't it?
Yeah, because if you get a manager that half knows what he's doing, it's still Manchester United, and if you kind of just take it back to the bare bones, if I was a young player but was like, you know, good, and I had the potential to be pretty world class, I wouldn't turn down Manchester United.
No, definitely. Yeah, he's still got that aura about it, even though things are not great. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so kind of like you referencing Fergie there. You know, watching him every week, even from afar. You know, you could just see that what he did, he thought was the right thing, and that was it. And then it was either, you know,
it was even to the point where like my uncle, who's a City fan, and he'd be like, you know, Fergie just used to get his own way. The journalists were too scared to ask him questions, and I was like, but good, do that. You've got to be a bully to win. Do you know what I mean? If someone asks you a question you don't like and you fucking belittle them in front of everyone, they ain't going to ask you the fucking question again.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all right being a City fan in fucking League One going, oh, he's a bully. But what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? He's been a bully winning Champions League, so
yeah,
you've got to be ruthless. You've got to be cutthroat to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you there, totally, man. So on every This Is the Music Meets podcast, we ask our guests a series of questions that sort of designed to be a little bit more like light-hearted and help the listeners find out a little bit more about the artists that we're interviewing. So the first question is, you're allowed to see one final song from your favourite artist in your favourite venue. Who are you choosing?
Just one song?
Yeah, one song, yeah.
My favourite song is Naive Melody by the Talking Heads.
Nice.
So I would probably just like to see that, but on the Stop Making Sense DVD thing, if you've ever seen it, the documentary thing, I would just watch that. I'd like to see that in person.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. I like that. Jack, is that what you're going with as well?
I mean, yeah, probably, yeah. After watching it, yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, so if you could play one song from your debut album, Souls in Motion, for the rest of your musical career, but you had to play it in a different musical style, so it could be country or jazz or death metal or whatever, what song would you choose?
Good question.
I'd do a reggae version of Deeper Than All.
Yeah.
That'd be mental.
Yeah, that's
do it tonight.
It'd have to be something weird, wouldn't it? You could be a bit boring doing it. Just do a shoegaze version of Sunnyside.
Yeah.
Add distortion on it. Be very Pastel.
I like that. Yeah, like that. That'd be cool. Obviously, you're going to be going out on tour very, very soon. If you're putting together a playlist for the tour van, what 3 songs would have to make the cut from any artist?
So we've already kind of got one of these where every tour we ever do, or whenever we just go away, there always seem, not intentionally, but there seems to become like a song that we take away from it.
Anthem for it.
So like the standout ones,
Drinking in LA.
Drinking in LA, but the twang cover.
Yep.
That's one. Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith.
Nice. Yeah.
And the one that we've just had on this tour, I'm not gonna say.
No, you got to.
Do you know who Wheeler Walker Jr. is?
No idea.
Just any of his songs. That's what we got. After this, go on Spotify. Yeah, I can't even say any of his song titles. But if you just go and look on there on Spotify, that's what we've taken from this stuff.
Wicked. I love a recommendation. So yeah, I'll go and check that out.
Yeah, you'll like
later on this afternoon. Nice one. If you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Mine would be Damon Albarn, I think.
Oh, nice.
Just because he's so versatile, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to do like a Gorillaz style tune, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say Streets.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what?
Streets.
Before you even said, I was thinking Mike Skinner as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's class. I love that. That's class. They're just sort of looking onto the tour, obviously, that's coming up next month. Are there kind of like any countries or cities where you sort of dream of being able to play, you know, and obviously build a much bigger fan base?
I'd love to go.
Halifax.
I'd love to go to Canada.
Nice.
You know, because of the Trailer Park Boys film, they're all Canadian.
Mhm.
So I mean, who knows? I don't know.
What was it they said about the pubs?
Yeah, so Halifax in Nova Scotia has in the whole of North America per capita the most bars per person.
Say no more.
3 bars per one person. Come on. Come on.
Say no more. That's all you need to know, right?
Yeah, I'm sold. Yeah, I'd love to go. I think like Canada and America and stuff probably.
Yeah. No, sure. Can
I'd do a bit of Germany, me. I reckon somewhere.
Oh yeah. They've got quite a bigger music. I don't know what the word, like community, maybe. I think than what they're given credit for. I think.
Yeah, no, they do. We've got a few fans over there, and Italy we've got quite a few fans. It seems as well.
Yeah.
Definitely to Italy.
Yeah, sure. Love it. World domination is definitely incoming for Pastel. But look, James and Jack, unfortunately, that is the end of the This Is The Music Meets podcast. Thank you so much for giving up your time and your very, very busy schedule that you've got going on at the minute and being two great guests. It's a real pleasure to have you both on. And I wish you all the luck in the world with the album charting, obviously, tomorrow. And fingers crossed that there's some great news in relation to the charts. If you haven't bought a ticket yet, you can for the tour that's coming up, or you haven't bought a copy of the album, then we'll put the links in the episode bio as well for everyone to go and go and do so. Thanks again. I'm going to see you on your London date in the beginning of March. I think that is
nice. Yeah,
buzzing to see you. And best of luck with everything. And as I say, thanks very much for coming on.
Nice one, mate.
Dude. Cheers.
See you later.
Brilliant. Cheers.
God
Thank you
bless.
very much.
Bye.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for tuning in to the latest This Is The Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any brand new episodes. And if you're loving the podcast, show us some love by giving us a rating and written review, as it really does help the artists we interview to be discovered. If you are listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple, then stay tuned, as at the end of this episode, you'll be able to hear Your Day, which is, of course, from Pastel's debut album, Souls in Motion, which is out now. I'll be back very, very soon for another This Is The Music Meets podcast. And remember, the future is bright. The future is indie.